Then without further ado, our first speaker is Jessica Zaragoza. She's a graduate student in the Department of Kinesiology, and her topic today is the elusive concept of flow and the key to happiness.
Take a moment to reflect on doing something that you love. When doing something that you truly love, do you feel as if you're completely consumed by it? Do you feel totally in control of what you're doing? Does time seem to alter so that it slows way down and you can visualize every detail of what you're doing? Or maybe time speeds up so much that after hours it feels as if no time has passed at all. Some people like to refer to this experience as being in the zone. This desirable so-called zone occurs at the sensitive crux of being in a challenging situation, yet feeling like you have the skills to meet the challenge of the situation. And the truth is there's a name for this state, and it's called flow. Researchers have even called flow the key to happiness. Now, it's a really great feeling to experience flow. But the good news is, if you're a researcher like me, we can actually measure it. We use a validated psychological test called the flow state scale. Now, the flow state scale asks people to reflect on an activity that they've just performed, and then to rate a series of statements on a scale of 1 to 5 to the agree to how much they either agreed or disagree with that statement. Some of the statements on the flow state scale include, I was challenged, but I believe my skills would allow me to meet the challenge. I really enjoyed the experience. Time seemed to alter. I was completely focused on the task at hand. Or, the experience left me feeling great. Now, the FSS, or the flow state scale, is a really great research tool, but it still doesn't give us the full picture. We want to look at what it looks like on the physiologic level for someone to experience flow. What if we can go beneath the skin and see what it looks like physiologically in some of people's most enjoyable moments? Now, we do this by looking at something called the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is the branch of your nervous system that operates involuntarily, and it has two branches. The sympathetic branch, or what people like to refer to as the fight or flight branch, and the parasympathetic branch, or what people often refer to as the rest and digest branch. Now, these branches don't always operate in terms of their namesakes, but they can sometimes have co-activation, maybe co-inhibition, or even operate independently of one another. Whatever the autonomic state may be, it's unique in different situations. So how can we look into someone's nervous system? Well, we have to look at peripheral measures. And a great peripheral measure for looking at autonomic activity is cardiac activity. Some cardiac measures that we can look at that are indicators of flow states are something as simple as heart rate. When somebody's heart rate goes up, we can assume that they have sympathetic activation. On the other hand, when someone's heart rate goes down, we can kind of assume that they have some parasympathetic activation going on. There are also a number of different cardiac measures that we can look at that are indicative of autonomic states. Now, this is great because it gives us a very good glimpse into what it looks like at the physiologic level for someone to either enjoy their experience or not enjoy their experience. But the sad thing is that not everyone can achieve flow with ease. Some barriers to achieving flow can come in the form of certain psychopathologies like dissociation or anxiety. Someone who suffers from dissociation often feels like they are disconnected from the world around them. They tend to lose a sense of self. They might feel that they are disconnected emotionally or even physically from their surroundings and their activities. So recall that achieving flow requires somebody to be fully engaged in what they're doing. Now, if this is a requirement of flow, then feeling disconnected is a very apparent barrier to achieving flow. On the other hand, let's look at somebody who might suffer from anxiety. Someone with anxiety has unfounded tension and vigilance in preparation for future events. They tend to be very apprehensive people. Now recall that another dimension of flow is to feel like you have the skills to meet the challenge of the situation before you. So if you are apprehensive and maybe focusing inwardly at your own inabilities and shortcomings, then anxiety is also a very apparent barrier to enjoying the flow experience and engaging in flow. Now, this is why the research is so important. It's important for us to understand what it looks like for somebody to enjoy their experiences. And this is the realm that my research delves into. For my research project, we look at dancers right here on our CSUN campus. We follow them through the course of their performances and their rehearsals. While they're performing, we ask them to wear a device called the Life Shirt. Now, the Life Shirt is a really fabulous research tool because it's a fitted vest that's connected to EKG electrodes that are then connected to a portable device that the dancers can wear while they're performing on stage. And the device simultaneously collects physiologic data on the dancers. So recall that cardiac measures are indicative of autonomic states. After we have collected cardiac measures on people, we can see what kind of autonomic activations they may have had. Now, all of our dancers are screened beforehand for having either dissociation or anxiety. So we can compare that physiologic data to whether or not someone might suffer from a psychopathology. Lastly, after they perform, we ask them to fill out a flow state scale reflecting on their experience while they're performed. So with all three of these components in place, it just gives us a beautiful global picture of what it looks like for somebody to experience flow or maybe not experience flow, or to what degree they might have enjoyed the experience. Now, my two main research questions go after this. I would like to know, is it true, in fact, that people with psychopathologies do have a harder time achieving flow than maybe the non-anxious or non-dissociative person? And also, what is unique physiologically, maybe about people who suffer from psychopathologies? And to what degree does this aspect interfere with their flow experience? Now, dancers aren't the only ones who have been known to experience flow. Athletes, musicians, and even rock climbers have been seen in the literature to experience flow on a regular basis. Someone asked me just yesterday if I think that anyone can experience flow. And the answer I gave them was yes. I believe that through research and really investigating what goes into people's enjoyable experiences can give us a great picture of how maybe proper treatments and therapies can be put in place for people who might suffer from psychopathologies. If flow really is the key to happiness, then it's worth investigating and getting to the bottom of this so that we can put keys back into people's hands so that they can enjoy all of their life experiences and lead truly happy and fulfilling lives. Thank you.